Welcome back to BNI and the Power of One podcast. We are back with episode 2 in our growth series. If you have not listened to the first episode, you need to do that. Go back and listen. And, think about it. Hopefully these are tools you can use as your chapter 2. You can play them as educational moments in your group, assign them, have discussions about them, whatever will work for your chapter. As we go forward to planning a successful group event, visitor day, but really thinking about it strategically, individually, on who's missing. So in episode 1, we asked about why are you here and how important that is to you. So now what we need to get into is start thinking about, okay, I have this vision, Tim. I want to pay for my kids' college education. I need to build my business to the point where I can afford to do that thing that I didn't get, or to afford retirement, or to whatever your vision is. Again, realizing only you can really care enough to make that happen. Nobody can care enough to make that happen for you. Nobody's going to do it for you, and nobody's going to really care whether you do it or not until maybe the end, right? But during the process, you have to care. So the second question now is, all right, who's missing? I have this goal. I've got this journey I want to go on. Who is strategically missing for me to accomplish that goal? And what we want to be thinking about is what professions target the same type of people I'm targeting, but don't compete with me. These are the people I need to network with. A great question to always ask yourself when you leave a sales meeting is, who else would be targeting that client? Those are the people we really need to be networking with, and we need to surround ourselves with. Now, listen, diversity in your networking is awesome. It's needed. And again, the bigger the chapter, the more opportunities we have. It's just numbers from that point, right? And it's the only way you make yourself more efficient as a networker is to have more people listening, right? If you're going to do a weekly presentation, it's better to do in front of 50 people than 20 people. However, within that, you need to have a subset of your contact sphere really well developed, because these are the people who are going to see the opportunities you're looking for more often. So they are going to outproduce the rest of the group for you. Okay, we need the diversity to feed within the contact sphere, and we don't know who knows who, and there's all kinds of contacts outside of people's professions, and all of that is true. But strategically, we know the majority of your referrals will come from within your contact sphere just because of the fact that they're looking for them. It's the whole reticular activator exercise of our brain, that if we're out there, the reason we can see referrals for ourselves everywhere we go is because we're always thinking about them, right? The reason why your fellow members might struggle is because they're thinking about their own, and that's what networking is. We got to teach them how to see those opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the people in your contact sphere are looking for your referrals too. So it's just opportunity on top of opportunity, right? So now it's really about who's missing. So your challenge right now is to make a list of as many as you can think of these professions that are currently not actively in your network, in your chapter. They're not meeting with you every single week right now. They're not learning from you every single week how to see these referrals or how to bring them to you, who's strategically missing from your contact sphere. You should be able to make a list of somewhere between 5 and 10 pretty easily. The smaller your network right now, the easier and the longer that list can be. Okay, so your exercise right now is to start making that list. Now, when we're doing that, you can think outside the box a little bit. Don't get stuck into just the auto answers. So when I was a member and I sold life insurance, I was trained to go out and look for accountants. I was a financial advisor / my focus in BNI was life insurance, but I worked for these companies all do everything. So anyways, I was trained. I went through months of training with them and everything else, and it'd be like, you need a good relationship with an accountant, And that makes sense, except, and this was again 20 years ago, the ratio of financial planners to accountants at that time was like 15-1, right? There's like 15 of us trying to chase the accountants around. And for every accountant, there's 15 of us. And what did accountants start really doing? Well, they started realizing that they could offer these services internally as well. So now that ratio goes way higher, right? Maybe it's 30-1. 30 financial advisors trying to find the mythical accountant who doesn't already have a relationship and doesn't offer the products and services we offer. So yeah, if I found it, would that be valuable? Of course. But the odds and the amount of time to find that mythical creature were pretty significant. And I had a mentor who was working with me who kind of talked about this, right? Like, and about, who I was targeting for these golden gooses, if you will, the relationship-based referrals. And we started talking about my end user, my client. Like, what's your dream client? I'd be like, oh, well, my dream clients are really successful business owners. And, like Fortune 500 business owners, that'd be amazing. But just like the big business owners between New Hampshire and Massachusetts in that area. And we talked about it. He's like, right now, what are they wearing to work every day? Again, 20 years ago. And I was like, well, they're wearing suits. And he's like, okay, like off the rack from Macy's? And I was like, no, they're probably tailored. And he's like, right. Who are tailors meeting? Well, they're meeting people with expendable income. What's the cool thing about suits for me was, well, you can't get it done over the phone, right? It's kind of like getting a haircut. And tailors have really high loyalty. They get a good customer base, and they're there, and they talk about life and everything else. They're in a prime position where their entire clientele is made up of the people I want to meet, who they have good, deep relationships with, loyalty with, credibility with. And I could be the one financial advisor chasing the 30 tailors around instead of one of 30 trying to find that mythical CPA. Right? And it was just an eye-opening kind of exercise for me at the time. And my challenge to you is to be thinking about that. Don't just go auto, I sell this, so this. I mean, that doesn't mean they're wrong, but where are the opportunities? This is, again, an exercise that's not how fast can I write down 5 professions. It's who strategically is missing. Strategically missing from you, from your networking right now. That, again, you care about. That, again, is going to help you towards your end goal of success, whatever that is for you. Right? You want to really make that list, because while we go through this series, I'm gonna laser focus on one of them right now, but you repeat this process, right? So like now we've got a list of 5 to 10. It's prioritize it. What's number 1? What's number 1? What's number 2? What's number 3? What's number 4? What's number 5? And now you focus intently on number 1. Okay? Who's number 1? And now our entire focus through the rest of this series and for your chapter's Visitor Day is going to be that profession. Not anyone, not anybody, that profession. So as a chapter, our first step now is to schedule a date where we're going to laser focus everybody's attention. That's what a Visitor Day is. Visitor Day is not a big sales event. It's not a big party, and you don't have to call it a Visitor Day. Call it an open business day. Call it a potential member day. Call it whatever. I hear all these different titles, and everybody goes, oh, we've had more success because we changed the title. The title doesn't mean shit. It doesn't. What makes a successful event, Visitor Day, open business day, potential member day, whatever, is the effort of the people in the chapter. Period. End of story. It's never because we changed the name so the visitors feel better because it's an open business day. That is utter BS. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because when you invite to it, you don't have to say it's a visitor day, it's an open business day, it's a this day. None of that matters. The whole thing that matters is collectively, as a team, we are all going to focus our efforts on this day because if we do that, it amplifies the effect. That's why we do a visitor day. It amplifies the effect. It increases the odds somebody joins, which ultimately is why you're doing this, which is ultimately why, no matter where you are, you should be engaging with your management team from BNI to help you. It drives me bananas when people are like, oh, we don't want BNI there because you're going to sell BNI. Why did you invite them? You invited them to join your team. That's the purpose. The purpose is to grow your team because the more people on your team, the more results you're going to get, the more results you're going to get, the more likelihood you're going to get to the point where you want to be. So don't hold yourself back. Don't shoot yourself in the foot from making that happen. So schedule a date. I think you should schedule a date, 1, 2, 3, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. Doesn't have to be 6, 7, 8 weeks. The only reason it might need to be that far out is, again, to line up the fact that you can get a director there or somebody from the region who can help you with that event. Okay? But schedule the date. I'm going to say that it's 4 weeks from now, which is fine, but whatever. Individually, this week you are picking your profession, your focus. I believe this is how your business becomes more effective. This is how we start really making things easier for ourselves. I have an analogy for most small business owners. I look at us like hamsters in a wheel, right? We've all seen a hamster in a wheel. And what are they doing? They're working hard. Where are they going? Nowhere. Unfortunately, most small businesses fall in this trap. They work hard. They're not lazy. But the business doesn't really get anywhere year over year. Because what's happening is we're stuck in the wheel of focusing on next customer, next client, next customer, next client, next customer, next client. And we never get the time to really ask ourselves, how do we move the damn wheel? Now, you've heard this, you got to work on your business, not in your business. By the way, networking, everything you do in networking is by definition time working on your business. How effectively we're doing that is up to us to figure out, but that's what it is. Unfortunately, most people look at it as time away. Like this is, I got to go to that networking event when I have time. I'll do the inviting when I have time. I hear it from members for years. Tim, you want us to grow our business, but you know what? I'm growing. You want us to grow our chapter because it grows your business, but you know what? I'm focused on growing my business. It's like they're the same. Like by growing your chapter, you are growing your opportunities, which will grow your business. Now, the chapter randomly growing around you is not going to be as effective as you strategically growing your contact sphere for yourself. That's the focus. I believe it should take about, 2-3 hours worth of work through this whole series for you to get the profession you wrote down you want. It might take less, but let's call it 3 hours. So the way to really look at it is like, okay, I'm going to invest this 3 hours into getting this profession into my group. I believe if you get the right people in your group from these professions, you should conservatively get a referral about every other week from them. But let's be really conservative and say once a month. Well, that's 12 referrals. This year, you can predict that you're going to get from having that person in the group. Your wheel just moved a little bit. Do it again. You get number 2, it's 24. You do it again. Number 3, it's 36. And now we're getting a referral every 3 to 4. We're getting 3 referrals a month, 4 referrals a month from doing this exercise. So if it's 3 hours worth of work to get the profession, that's going to give me 12 referrals a year. Well, what's your average referral worth? Mine is about $1,000. So that's $12,000. That's a $4,000 an hour return on my investment. It's a pretty good investment of time. But you need to make that investment in time. It's not going to happen because we hope it happens. Okay, so we got our list. You've prioritized it. You've got number 1. Exercise for this week is to go and make a list of as many people as you can find in your area from that profession. And remember, your area is not the town you meet in necessarily. People will drive and meet in driving at least a half-hour radius. So what different towns, different areas can you invite from? If you're online or hybrid, your radius is a little bit bigger. You're going to go to 3 sites. You're going to go to Google, you're going to go to LinkedIn, you're going to go to Facebook, and you're going to pull a list of as many people as you can find. Google, whatever it is. LinkedIn, same thing. And then go to Facebook and say, hey, anybody know a good whatever, painter, accountant, electrician, plumber, whatever, and watch the referrals come in. You take all of that, you make your list. You should have at least 20 people. 20 people that you can invite to your chapter from the profession you want. That's your exercise this week. Make the list. You don't have to take any other step, but you're going to go to those 3 sites at least, maybe more, and make a list and get to 20 people who do what it is that you want in the chapter. So if you want a painter, get 20 painters at least, whatever that is. Okay. And so your chapter is scheduled a date. You're going to make the list. Next week, we're going to talk about what to do with that list and how to actually invite these people effectively so that they show up to the event. I will remind you each and every week, probably. This all comes down to how bad do you want that end result. If you didn't listen to episode 1, you have to listen to episode 1. I encourage you to listen to episode 1 of this series again and again and again and again and again and again until it drills into your head what it is you want from this. Okay? Every chapter tells me they want more members, but they're not putting the effort to make that happen because they don't have the why that's deep enough yet. Have a good week.